Welcome to Deep Sleep Documentary. If you enjoy calm storytelling, relaxing historical journeys, and documentaries designed to help you unwind and fall asleep, I kindly invite you to subscribe. A simple subscribe and a gentle like truly help the channel grow and make sure you never miss the next relaxing episode. Now find a comfortable position, close your eyes. If you wish, take a deep breath and let your mind slowly drift away from the noise of the day. Because tonight, we begin a journey that stretches across thousands of years. A quiet exploration of one of humanity's most extraordinary achievements, the Great Wall of China. Across this documentary, we will uncover the truth behind the legends. We will explore the real reasons the wall was built, the ingenious techniques ancient engineers used, and the immense sacrifices of the people who shaped every brick and stone. We will discover how the wall functioned as a military system, how it evolved through 9 dynasties, and how China's harsh landscapes influenced every section. With the help of modern archaeology, we will bring to light secrets buried under sand and forgotten for centuries. We will step into the world of culture, myths, and stories that have grown around the wall, echoing through poetry, art, and generations of imagination. And finally, we will look at the Great Wall today, its preservation, its challenges, and what the future may hold for one of Earth's greatest wonders. This documentary is created for rest, relaxation, and sleep. A gentle journey where historical knowledge meets a peaceful atmosphere, allowing you to learn, dream, and perhaps even fall asleep along the way. So now, let us begin. From the silence of the upper atmosphere, the Great Wall of China appears not as a monument of stone, but as a living line, an ancient scar stretched across the body of a continent. Only from above can its impossible scale be fully understood. Winding for thousands of kilometers across peaks, valleys, deserts, and isolated plains, the wall reveals a landscape shaped equally by human ambition and by the unforgiving forces of nature. Modern satellite imagery shows something that early explorers could never fully grasp. The Great Wall is not a single structure, but an interconnected system of fortifications built during different dynasties, stretching over 21,000 kilometers. This measurement, confirmed in a large-scale survey completed in 2012 by China's State Administration of Cultural Heritage, includes the main walls, trenches, natural barriers, and defensive ramparts. From the sky, these segments appear like threads of history woven through terrain that often seems impossible for construction. Drone footage provides a closer, more intimate perspective. Flying at low altitudes, drones reveal the textures hidden from satellites, layers of stone, brick, tamped earth, and region-specific materials. In the Gansu corridor, where stone was scarce, builders used compacted earth mixed with gravel, clay, and even reeds. In the mountainous regions near Beijing, the wall transitions to brick and granite, with individual blocks weighing over 100 kilograms. Every section reflects the geology beneath it, making the wall not only an engineering achievement, but also a geological mirror of northern China. One of the most striking sights from the air is the wall's dramatic climb along near vertical mountain ridges. In regions such as Jinshanling and Simitai, the structure rises along slopes of 30 to 40 degrees, hugging the natural topography with astonishing precision. Ancient engineers chose ridgelines, not only for strategic visibility, but also to reduce the need for additional building material. The mountains themselves became defensive barriers. From above, the wall resembles a stone spine running across the continent's backbone. The famous question, "Can the Great Wall be seen from space?" has a scientific answer. With the naked eye, the wall is not distinctly visible from low Earth orbit because its colors blend naturally with the surrounding terrain. However, astronauts using telephoto lenses have successfully photographed certain segments. Modern satellite sensors can detect it clearly, especially where its materials contrast with the landscape. The myth that it is the only human-made structure visible from space is false, but the reality remains impressive. Its presence is undeniably detectable from far above the Earth. From drone flights through remote valleys, another truth becomes clear. The wall is not a pristine monument. It is a structure shaped by erosion, weather, and time. In the Gobi Desert, sections lie partially buried beneath shifting dunes. Centuries of wind have smoothed once sharp lines, carving curves into the structure and blending it into the landscape. Yet, despite centuries of decay, its layout remains visible. The ancient designers plotted these defensive lines based on natural elevation, mapping routes with an accuracy that modern digital models now confirm. Many of the wall's bends and curves, visible so clearly from high-altitude imagery, are not random. Geographic information system studies reveal that the wall frequently follows natural fault lines, watershed boundaries, and ridge formations. These natural barriers provided easy-to-defend positions and wide visibility for watchtowers. A straight wall would have been more vulnerable to attack. Instead, the builders allowed the landscape to dictate the structure's path, demonstrating remarkable strategic intelligence. Satellite photography also reveals a crucial detail often missed on the ground. The wall is not continuous. It splits, branches, and sometimes stops abruptly. These breaks were intentional. In some areas, parallel walls were built to create defensive corridors, funneling invaders into predictable paths. Other gaps appear where cliffs, rivers, or difficult terrain served as stronger natural defenses than stone. Seen from the sky, these decisions form a coherent defensive network. Aerial research has also clarified the logic behind the wall's thousands of watchtowers, over 25,000 by historical estimates. Their spacing varies according to terrain. In mountainous areas, towers stand close together to maintain visibility. Across broad plains, they are spaced several kilometers apart. The entire system was designed for rapid communication. Beacon fires by night and smoke signals by day could travel across hundreds of kilometers in a matter of minutes, making it one of the most effective early warning networks in human history. Modern technology continues to uncover parts of the wall long lost to erosion. Infrared and multispectral imaging reveal chemical and thermal traces of ancient fortifications, even where stones are no longer visible. These advanced techniques have enabled archaeologists to map forgotten branches dating back to the Han Dynasty, over 2,000 years old. Many of these sections were buried by sand or destroyed by time, yet their presence remains detectable only through aerial instrumentation. Seasonal aerial footage reveals how deeply the wall interacts with its environment. In winter, snow highlights the geometry of the wall around Mutianyu, making its lines appear sharper than stone. In spring, powerful desert winds reshape the dunes around early Han Dynasty sections. During summer, vegetation grows thick in the mountain regions, concealing watchtowers almost completely. The wall changes with the seasons, reminding us that nature continues to sculpt it long after its builders are gone. From high altitude, another fascinating detail emerges. The wall is closely connected with human life. Villages, some centuries old, sit beside its shadow. Farmers work terraced fields that follow the wall's curves and slopes. Paths used today often trace the same routes as soldiers once did. From above, communities, farmlands, and the wall itself form a single living landscape. Viewed from the sky, the Great Wall becomes more than a military barrier. It transforms into a visual timeline. Different materials, different orientations, and different levels of preservation reveal the eras that shaped it. Every change, in color or pattern, marks a shift in dynasties, priorities, or technologies. The wall becomes an open-air history book, written across mountains and deserts. Its mysteries, when studied through satellite data and aerial science, lose their mythic glow and reveal something deeper, the brilliance of human adaptation. The wall's design follows the principles of geology, topography, engineering, and military strategy. Its path is not mystical but logical. Its endurance is not accidental but calculated. From satellites, orbiting thousands of kilometers above the surface, to drones, skimming just meters above its ancient stones, each perspective reinforces the same idea. The Great Wall of China is not just a monument built by human hands. It is a dialogue between civilization and landscape, shaped equally by the earth and by the people who once defended it. Seen from the sky, its true story begins to unfold, an ancient masterpiece carved into the face of the planet. The Great Wall of China has been described as a single-purpose structure, built solely to keep invaders out. It is an appealing story, simple, dramatic, and easy to visualize. But the reality, revealed through historical records, archaeological discoveries, and modern research, is far more complex. The Great Wall was not created for one reason, but for many. It was shaped by politics, economics, strategy, fear, and ambition. It changed purpose from dynasty to dynasty, adapting to the shifting needs of a vast and evolving civilization. To understand why the wall was truly built, we must first look at the geography of northern China. The northern frontier was a wide, open expanse of steppe, a region difficult to defend because it offered no natural barriers. Nomadic groups, especially the Xiongnu, the Khitans, and later the Mongols, used this terrain to their advantage. Unlike settled agricultural societies, they were highly mobile, able to strike quickly and disappear just as fast. The earliest Chinese states struggled to manage these threats. The idea of building barriers began long before the unified Great Wall and emerged from constant pressure along these unpredictable borders. Archaeological studies show that some of the earliest walls, dating to the Warring States period around the 5th century BCE, were not built to stop massive armies. Instead, their main purpose was to slow down small raids and protect farmlands on the frontier. These raids targeted grain stores, livestock, and trade caravans, resources essential for the survival of early Chinese states. By limiting access to agricultural zones, the walls helped create stability for farming communities and encouraged population growth in contested areas. When Qin Shi Huang unified China in 221 BCE, the motivation changed. Many believe he ordered the construction of the wall purely to defend against the Xiongnu. While defense was part of it, the deeper purpose was political. Qin was obsessed with unification, centralization, and control. By connecting and extending regional walls into a continuous frontier, he physically marked the northern limit of his empire. The wall became a symbol of order imposed on chaos, reinforcing the idea that the Qin emperor ruled over a single, centralized nation. Modern research suggests that the Qin did not build the wall only to keep enemies out. They also used it to keep their own people in. Many subjects fled heavy taxes and forced labor by escaping north into the steppe. The wall, combined with watchtowers and patrol units, helped prevent migration and protected the empire's most valuable resource, its labor force. In this sense, the wall functioned as a political boundary as much as a military one. During the Han Dynasty, the wall evolved again. Archaeological excavations along the Hexi Corridor reveal storage pits, postal stations, and military garrisons built beside wall sections. This period marked the rise of long-distance trade, The Silk Road was expanding westward, linking China with Central Asia and eventually with the Middle East and Europe. The wall's purpose now extended far beyond defense. It protected trade routes, ensured safe passage for merchants, and allowed the empire to control taxation and diplomatic exchanges. Without this stability, the Silk Road would not have flourished in the same way. Economic protection became one of the most significant motivations. Nomadic groups often relied on trade with China for grain, metal tools, and luxury goods. When relations deteriorated, raids increased. The wall served as a way to regulate this dynamic, allowing the government to control border markets and decide when trade was allowed or restricted. Historical documents describe specific gates where controlled exchanges took place. These were early customs checkpoints, and the wall was the backbone of this economic system. Yet, myths persisted. For centuries, people believed the Great Wall successfully kept out all invaders. However, historical records reveal a different picture. The wall slowed enemies but did not always stop them. The Xiongnu, the Khitans, the Jurchens, and even the Mongols found ways to breach, bypass, or exploit weaknesses in the system. The Mongol Empire, led by Genghis Khan, did not defeat the Song or Jin dynasties by smashing through the wall. Instead, they took advantage of political division, bribed officials, and engaged in prolonged warfare until the frontier collapsed. These events reveal the wall's limitations and show that it was never an impenetrable fortress. Because nomadic armies were highly mobile, a static wall could not completely stop them. But it did serve another purpose. It slowed them down enough for defenders to communicate threats. Watchtower signals, smoke by day and fire by night, could travel long distances in minutes. This early warning system allowed armies to mobilize faster. From a military perspective, time was often more valuable than stone. The wall transformed the frontier into a monitored zone where movement was tracked and reported. It was an intelligence network as much as a physical barrier. By the time of the Ming Dynasty, from the 14th to the 17th century, the wall expanded dramatically. This is the era that produced the iconic brick and stone architecture most visitors see today. The Ming faced constant pressure from the Mongols and later rising powers along the steppe. But deeper political motivations influenced construction on this grand scale. The Ming court, riddled with internal conflicts, needed a symbol of strength. Massive public works projects demonstrated imperial authority. The wall became part of a political strategy to restore confidence, unify the population, and display the power of the state. Economic motivations were equally significant. The frontier was home to lucrative trade routes, farmland, and tax bases that the Ming could not afford to lose. The wall protected these resources, making it an investment in national stability. Recent studies using carbon dating and material analysis show how Ming builders transported granite, fired bricks on site, and constructed drainage systems to withstand erosion. Their approach reveals a shift toward long-term planning and permanent settlement along the frontier. The wall also served an administrative purpose. Along major sections, military colonies were established where soldiers farmed the land when not on patrol. These colonies formed a buffer zone, reducing the economic strain on the central government. The wall connected these communities, creating structured networks of supply, communication, and law enforcement. In reality, one reason stands above all: the wall created control. Not only over enemies, but over people, resources, trade, taxes, culture, and information. It defined where China ended and where the outside world began. It shaped diplomacy by determining who could approach the empire and under what conditions. It influenced economic policies by regulating markets, trade routes, and migration. It provided a visual and psychological boundary, one that reinforced the idea: of a protected and unified nation. The myth says the wall was built only to stop invaders. The reality is far richer. It was a tool for survival, a symbol of authority, an economic shield, a diplomatic instrument, and a message to both friend and foe. Its purpose changed with each dynasty, evolving with the needs of the Chinese state across more than 2,000 years. Understanding this complexity transforms the Great Wall from a simple defensive structure into a reflection of human civilization itself. It embodies the fears, ambitions, and strategies of the empires that built it. And through this deeper perspective, the wall becomes not only a monument of stone, but a monument of intention, shaped as much by politics and economics as by warfare. The Great Wall of China is often remembered for its astonishing length, but its most remarkable achievement lies in the engineering behind it. For more than 2,000 years, builders shaped the wall across some of the most unforgiving landscapes on Earth: vertical cliffs, frozen plains, rocky ridges, river valleys, and shifting deserts. Constructing a defensive line through these environments required not only strength and endurance, but also innovation, experimentation, and adaptability. Modern engineering studies reveal just how complex their methods were, proving that the wall is not merely a symbol of ancient determination, but a masterpiece of early civil engineering. To understand the scale of this achievement, it's important to recognize that there was no single blueprint. Each dynasty used different techniques, materials, and strategies depending on the terrain and available resources. Archaeological evidence shows that construction methods varied dramatically from region to region. In fertile areas with access to clay, bricks and tiles were used. In mountainous regions, granite and limestone were quarried directly from the slopes. In deserts, builders relied on tamped earth, reeds, and compacted sand. The wall's structure changes like the landscape itself, adapting naturally to each environment it crosses. In the northern mountains near Beijing, some of the most iconic sections stand on ridges that rise more than 800 meters above sea level. Building on these slopes required careful planning. Ancient engineers first carved steps or terraces into the rock, creating a stable foundation. Stones were quarried from nearby peaks and transported using wooden carts, sledges, and human labor. Studies of tool marks show that iron chisels, hammers, and wedges were used to shape blocks with surprising precision. In certain regions, builders used lime mortar, which hardens into a material stronger than many modern concretes. This mortar, combined with interlocking stone layers, allowed the wall to endure centuries of storms, earthquakes, and erosion. Further west, in the steep ridges of Jinshanling and Simotai, the terrain becomes even more extreme. Here, the wall climbs slopes of more than 30 or 40 degrees, creating the appearance of a stone ribbon draped over mountain peaks. Engineers aligned the structure along natural contours, reducing the amount of cutting and leveling required. Watchtowers were placed at high points for maximum visibility. Modern topographical studies reveal that the builders selected locations where defenders could see approaching forces from kilometers away. In these areas, the wall becomes a perfect fusion of geography and engineering. In contrast, construction on the flat plains and valleys required different techniques. Without the natural protection of mountains, the walls here needed to be taller and broader. Archaeologists studying Ming-era foundations found walls built with layers of rammed earth, reinforced by wooden frames. This method involved pouring loose earth, gravel, and clay into a wooden mold and compacting it with large wooden mallets. After repeated compression, the earth formed a tough, cement-like core. Over time, builders covered the outer layers with brick or stone for added strength. This combination of solid core and hard exterior created structures capable of withstanding siege weapons and seasonal flooding. One of the most fascinating engineering challenges appeared in the deserts of Gansu and Ningxia. In these regions, materials like stone and timber were scarce. Instead, builders used a technique known as hangtu, or rammed earth, mixed with layers of straw, reeds, and tamarisk branches. These organic materials bound the soil, reducing erosion caused by wind and sandstorms. Some of these desert walls are more than 2,000 years old, yet core samples show that their internal layers remain compact and stable. Modern soil analysis has confirmed that the mix of clay minerals and organic fibers created a surprisingly durable composite material, one of the earliest examples of engineered earth. Frozen regions posed another challenge. In the northernmost areas, winter temperatures dropped so low that mortar could not set properly. Builders adapted by constructing thicker walls with tightly packed stones that relied on weight and friction rather than binding agents. During warmer seasons, a thin layer of lime mortar was applied to the exterior. This method allowed the wall to survive in harsh climates where freezing and thawing cycles routinely destroyed other structures. Engineering the wall also involved managing enormous logistical networks. Each major dynasty developed systems to organize labor, transport materials, and supply food and water to workers. Records from the Ming dynasty detail massive supply chains stretching hundreds of kilometers. Timber was shipped from southern forests, iron tools from inland workshops, and grain from government granaries. Soldiers, farmers, prisoners, and skilled craftsmen often worked together in rotating shifts. Some teams specialized in brickmaking, others in quarrying stone, and others in maintaining access roads. These labor forces were coordinated through military-style administration, ensuring that construction could continue for years without interruption. Recent archaeological discoveries show remarkable attention to detail. At several sites, drainage features were built directly into the wall. These included small stone channels and sloped brick layers that directed rainwater away from the structure, preventing erosion. Without these drainage systems, entire sections would have collapsed long ago. Modern engineers have studied these ancient techniques and found them to be highly effective, proving that the wall's longevity was not accidental. It was designed for endurance. Watchtowers, built at regular intervals, also reveal advanced engineering. They served not only as lookout posts, but also as structural anchors. Towers often contain multiple floors, internal staircases, and small storage rooms. Some were partially buried into slopes for stability. Their placement along the wall created rhythm and reinforcement, preventing long sections from collapsing under their own weight. The spacing of towers was calculated so that signals could pass quickly across great distances. Engineering, communication, and strategy all blended into a single system. Perhaps the most surprising discovery from modern research is how environmentally conscious many construction methods were. In remote regions, builders used whatever materials were locally available. This reduced the need for long-distance transport and created structures perfectly adapted to their environments. As a result, the wall varies dramatically in appearance, sometimes stone, sometimes brick, sometimes earth. But this variation reflects a practical and sustainable engineering approach, rather than inconsistency. The wall's construction also influenced surrounding landscapes. In some regions, forests were cleared to supply timber, altering ecosystems. In others, new agricultural zones developed around military garrisons, creating entirely new communities. The wall reshaped both the natural and human environments, leaving a legacy that extended far beyond its stones. When we look at the Great Wall today, it is easy to focus on the visible parts, the watchtowers, the battlements, the winding ridges. But the real engineering miracle lies beneath the surface. In the foundations carved into mountains, the compacted earth hardened by time, the mortar strengthened through chemical reactions, and the adaptive techniques designed for each climate zone. Every brick, stone, and packed layer represents ingenuity and resilience. In the end, the Great Wall was not engineered as a single project, but as a series of evolving solutions to different problems. Its construction demanded creativity, discipline, and a deep understanding of the land itself. Through mountains, plains, and deserts, ancient engineers achieved what seemed impossible, building a structure that has not only survived centuries, but continues to inspire awe today. The Great Wall of China is often described as one of humanity's greatest engineering feats, but behind its stones, bricks, and winding ridges lies a human story far more powerful than the structure itself. Millions of people shaped the wall across more than 20 centuries: soldiers, peasants, artisans, and prisoners. Archaeology, historical records, and modern scientific studies help us understand who these people were, how they lived, and the immense sacrifices they made. To understand their world, we must begin with the earliest major builders, the soldiers of the Warring States period. Before China was unified under the Qin dynasty, rival kingdoms constructed their own defensive walls. Military records from the state of Qi mention thousands of conscripted soldiers working along defensive lines as early as the 7th century BCE. These soldiers were not just fighters, they were laborers, engineers, and protectors of the frontier. Archaeological findings indicate that many early walls were built quickly, using local earth and rough stones. This speed was possible only because soldiers worked in large coordinated units, often under harsh command. By the time Qin Shi Huang unified China in 221 BCE, the scale of construction had grown enormously. The Qin dynasty mobilized hundreds of thousands of workers to connect and expand older fortifications into what later came to be known as the first version of the Great Wall. Most of these workers were soldiers or peasants conscripted through a nationwide labor system. Others were convicts sentenced to hard labor, individuals who had violated the strict Qin legal code. Some had committed crimes, but many were punished for tax violations or minor offenses. Their lives were harsh, and historical documents like the records of the Grand Historian describe how forced laborers often worked until exhaustion. Modern archaeological studies give us a clearer image of their daily hardship. Along sections of the Qin Wall in Gansu and Inner Mongolia, researchers have uncovered simple work camps containing earthen fire pits, fragments of cooking pots, and animal bones. These findings suggest a monotonous diet, mostly millet, with occasional meat from sheep or goats. Chemical analysis of bone fragments confirms nutritional deficiencies consistent with extreme physical labor and limited food. At several sites, the remains of young men, some only in their early 20s, were found buried near the wall. This aligns with ancient poems and stories describing workers who died from cold, hunger, or overwork. During the Han Dynasty, wall building intensified as China expanded westward into the deserts along the Silk Road. The Han government relied heavily on its frontier military garrisons. Soldiers stationed in the west alternated between guarding passes and constructing new defensive lines. Han bamboo slips found in western fort sites describe the organization of labor teams, daily quotas, and strict punishments for falling behind. Excavations at the ancient fort of Huangquanji revealed writing tablets listing each soldier's duties. Many entries mention transporting earth, cutting wood, weaving reed mats, and maintaining watchtowers, showing how soldiers were expected to serve as both builders and defenders. Yet not all workers were soldiers or prisoners. Skilled artisans also played a crucial role. Brickmakers, stonemasons, carpenters, and engineers traveled with construction teams, Archaeologists have found molds for brick stamping along Ming-era walls, as well as marks carved into stones indicating artisan groups or workshop teams. These symbols help track responsibility and quality. Some marks appear repeatedly over long distances, proof that certain teams worked across entire provinces. Their craftsmanship is visible today in the finely cut granite blocks near Beijing and the precisely measured bricks used in the Ming Wall. The Ming dynasty, beginning in the late 14th century, created the most iconic version of the wall, the one most tourists recognize today. During this period, construction relied on an enormous workforce organized through the military household system. Families registered as military households were responsible for providing soldiers for frontier service. Many of these soldiers spent years stationed along the wall, building new sections, repairing old ones, and living in barracks close to watchtowers. They were not slaves, but their lives were strictly controlled by the state. Military records show that a typical soldier worked on the wall for several months each year, especially during warmer seasons when construction was possible. For peasants, the experience was different, but equally demanding. During the Ming era, local farmers were often recruited through corvée labor to support building efforts. Each household had to provide laborers for a specified number of days per year. These peasants traveled from their villages to wall sites carrying tools, food, and water. They worked long hours digging foundations, mixing mortar, and transporting bricks. Many walked dozens of kilometers each day along mountain paths. Excavations at Ming work camps revealed temporary shelters built from wood and clay, suggesting that labor teams lived on site for weeks at a time. Despite the hardship, the wall also provided opportunities. Some peasants earned extra grain or tax reductions for completing difficult tasks. A few skilled workers rose to supervisory positions. However, the overall experience remained grueling. Archaeological surveys along the mountains north of Beijing found scattered personal items, handmade shoes, broken bowls, pieces of rope, and even a child's toy carved from wood. These objects hint at the human presence behind the wall, people who lived, worked, and sometimes raised families in the shadow of the frontier. One of the most significant discoveries that deepens our understanding of these workers is the analysis of human remains found near certain remote sections. Scholars have conducted isotope studies on bones to determine diet, geographic origin, and living conditions. Results show that many laborers came from distant provinces, relocated by the state to frontier regions. Their diets were simple and poor, often lacking essential nutrients. Combined with extreme physical labor, cold winters, and isolation, these conditions contributed to high mortality rates. Folk tales that describe the bones of workers buried beneath the wall are exaggerated, but they contain a kernel of truth. Many people did die during construction, especially in earlier dynasties. Not all stories are tragic. Archaeological research has also uncovered signs of community life. Some garrisons included small gardens, animal pens, and wells, showing that soldiers and workers sometimes created semi-permanent settlements. Bamboo slips from Han frontier posts mentioned festivals, gift exchanges, and even complaints about missing blankets or poorly cooked food. These everyday details remind us that the people who built the wall had families, personalities, frustrations, and moments of joy, just like anyone else. As centuries passed, maintenance of the wall became as important as building it. Workers repaired collapsed sections, replaced roof tiles on watchtowers, cleared vegetation, and rebuilt pathways. Even during peaceful times, thousands of people were stationed along the frontier performing continuous upkeep. Some soldiers spent their entire lives guarding and maintaining the wall, never returning to their hometowns. In the end, the Great Wall is not just a monument of stone and earth. It is a monument to human lives, millions of them, Soldiers who dug foundations under the blazing sun, artisans who shaped stones with precision and pride, peasants who carried bricks up steep cliffs, prisoners who labored under the weight of punishment. Their stories are written in the archaeological record, in ancient documents, and in the very structure of the wall itself. Every section bears the imprint of human hands, effort, and sacrifice. When we admire the Great Wall today, we are not just looking at a fortress. We are looking at the legacy of generations of people whose work, endurance, and resilience shaped one of the most extraordinary achievements in human history. The Great Wall of China is often imagined as a simple defensive barrier, stretching across mountains and deserts to keep invaders out. But historical and archaeological evidence reveals that it was far more than a wall. It was a sophisticated military system, an integrated network of watchtowers, fortresses, signaling stations, patrol routes, and garrisons designed to support rapid communication and coordinated defense across thousands of kilometers. This chapter explores how that system worked and how effective it truly was against the powerful nomadic armies of the north. To understand the wall as a military system, we begin with its most iconic elements, the watchtowers. These towers, spaced along the length of the Ming Wall at intervals of roughly 500 to 1,000 meters, were the backbone of frontier observation. Archaeological surveys show significant variation in tower design depending on terrain and strategic importance. Some towers were simple square platforms built from rammed earth. Others were multi-story brick structures equipped with storage rooms, sleeping quarters, and weapon racks. Many towers were placed on high ridges, giving soldiers long lines of sight over surrounding valleys. Studies using GIS mapping software confirm that these sight lines formed a continuous visual chain, making it possible to relay messages quickly across vast distances. Communication between towers relied on one of the most advanced signaling systems of the ancient world, beacon fires. The basic principle was simple: use smoke by day and fire by night, but the execution was highly organized. During the Ming dynasty, soldiers carried dried wolf dung, which produced thick, dark smoke when burned, ideal for long-distance visibility. Written military manuals from the 15th and 16th centuries describe a coded system: one smoke column for a small-scale enemy sighting, 2 for larger groups, and 5 for a full-scale invasion. Tests by modern researchers have shown that smoke signals from elevated watchtowers could be seen up to 50 kilometers away under favorable conditions. With a series of towers spaced closely enough, a warning could travel hundreds of kilometers in a matter of hours. Yet the wall was more than a signaling network. It also included defensive fortresses positioned at key passes, river crossings, and strategic choke points. These fortresses, sometimes called gates, combined military barracks, command buildings, armories, and supply depots. Famous examples like Jiayuguan in the west and Shanhaiguan in the east show how sophisticated these fortifications could be. Built with high walls, inner courtyards, reinforced gates, and multiple layers of defense, they served as military hubs capable of housing hundreds or even thousands of soldiers. Archaeological excavations at some fortresses have uncovered large grain storage pits, indicating that they were prepared for long sieges or extended winter campaigns. Another crucial element of the wall's military system was the road network running along its length. Although often overlooked, this elevated pathway allowed soldiers to move quickly between towers and garrisons. In mountainous regions, stone steps and terraced walkways were carved directly into the ridges, enabling rapid deployment even in difficult terrain. Historical records describe mounted patrols traveling along these routes, supported by rest stations and stables positioned at regular intervals. Combined with the beacon system, these patrols formed an intelligence network capable of detecting and responding to threats before they reached populated areas. The soldiers stationed along the wall formed a sizable and diverse military force. During the Ming dynasty, which produced the most robust defensive structure, an estimated 1 million soldiers were assigned to frontier defense at various times. Not all were stationed directly on the wall, but many lived in garrisons built just behind it. Archaeological surveys have uncovered barracks, kitchens, weapon storage rooms, and drill grounds near major sections. Bamboo slips and military reports from earlier dynasties provide detailed records of troop organization. Officers, infantrymen, archers, signal specialists, and logistical staff all played roles in maintaining the defense system. Weaponry was adapted to both local terrain and the tactics of nomadic armies. Soldiers stationed on the wall were equipped with bows, crossbows, spears, and later, gunpowder weapons such as early muskets and signal rockets. Excavations along Ming-era walls have revealed iron arrowheads, fragments of crossbow triggers, and ceramic grenades, evidence of the diverse arsenal available to defenders. The height advantage provided by the wall amplified the effectiveness of these weapons, especially against cavalry units attempting to breach mountain passes or climb steep slopes. A key question for historians is how effective the wall truly was in military terms. The answer is complex. On a local scale, the wall was highly effective at slowing or redirecting enemy movement. It pushed nomadic riders toward guarded passes, making it harder for them to move quickly or launch surprise raids. It also protected agricultural regions by creating a clear frontier between farming communities and open steppe. In many recorded incidents, the wall's early warning system provided critical time for regional armies to mobilize. However, the wall alone could not stop large, determined invasions. Nomadic confederations such as the Xiongnu, the Mongols, and the Manchus possessed highly mobile cavalry armies capable of maneuvering around defensive lines. When major dynasties fell, it was rarely because the wall failed structurally. It was because political instability, corruption, or internal rebellion weakened the state behind it. The Mongols bypassed the wall through diplomacy, bribing guards and exploiting weak points in command structure. The Manchus eventually entered China not through a direct assault, but because Ming generals defected and opened strategic gates for them. Despite these limitations, the wall remained a valuable military asset for more than 1,000 years. It did not function as an impenetrable shield, but as an integrated system that enhanced surveillance, slowed enemy movements, improved communication, and protected frontier settlements. It allowed Chinese governments to project power across vast territories with a relatively stable defensive posture. Modern research deepens our understanding of how the system worked. LiDAR scanning and drone photography reveal previously unknown towers buried under vegetation. Chemical analysis of soil around beacon stations identifies residues from fire materials, confirming signaling practices described in ancient texts. Ground-penetrating radar has uncovered underground storage chambers used to preserve grain and munitions. Together, these scientific tools verify that the wall's military network was far more complex and organized than earlier historians understood. In the end, the Great Wall's true value as a military system lies not in its ability to stop every invasion, but in the way it shaped geopolitics for centuries. It stabilized the frontier, protected trade routes, and allowed agricultural societies to flourish in regions that might otherwise have been vulnerable to constant raids. It symbolizes not only defense, but communication, coordination, and state power on an enormous scale. When we view the wall today, stretching across the horizon like a stone backbone, we are looking at the remnants of a military system that once pulsed with urgency, towers signaling smoke into the sky, soldiers patrolling narrow ridges and commanders watching for distant dust clouds that might signal an approaching enemy. It is a testament to centuries of strategic adaptation and the constant struggle to defend a vast and diverse civilization. The Great Wall of China did not appear as a single unified structure built in one heroic moment of history. Instead, it evolved across more than 2,000 years, shaped by the ambitions, fears, and political realities of 9 major dynasties. Each dynasty left its own layers of architecture, engineering methods, and military strategy woven into the landscape. What stands today is only the final expression of a long and complex process. Understanding that timeline reveals how the wall changed alongside the civilization it was meant to protect. The earliest foundations of the wall trace back to the Warring States period, between the 7th and 3rd centuries BCE. China at that time was divided into rival kingdoms, each constructing defensive lines to protect their borders from one another and from nomadic tribes. These first walls were built quickly using local materials such as packed earth and rough stones. Archaeological excavations in regions once controlled by the states of Qi, Zhao, and Yan have uncovered long sections of ancient rammed earth walls buried beneath later constructions. Though simple in appearance, these early barriers represented the beginning of a strategic tradition that would shape China's northern frontier for the next 2 millennia. The story changes dramatically with the rise of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. In 221 BCE, after unifying the warring states, he sought to connect and reinforce their northern defenses. The Qin dynasty expanded existing walls and built new sections to protect against the powerful nomadic Xiongnu Confederation. These Qin-era walls are among the oldest recognizable parts of the Great Wall system. They were made primarily of rammed earth, layered in alternating reddish and yellow soils that can still be seen in the deserts of Gansu and Inner Mongolia. Archaeological surveys show how Qin builders used wooden frames to compact each layer of earth, creating dense blocks that have survived for over 2,000 years. While these early structures lacked the bricks and stones of later walls, they were massive undertakings that required tens of thousands of laborers and marked the first attempt to create a unified frontier defense line. With the fall of the Qin, the Han dynasty inherited both the empire and its northern threats. From 206 BCE to 220 CE, the Han expanded the wall westward, integrating it into the Silk Road defensive network. This was a period of exploration, trade, and military expansion. The Han Wall stretched across deserts, mountains, and the harsh Gobi frontier. Excavations along the western sections have uncovered ancient beacon towers, bamboo writing slips, and artifacts from frontier garrisons. The Han used a mixture of rammed earth, gravel, reeds, and brushwood to reinforce walls in sandy regions. One of the most distinctive features of Han construction was the use of stamped earth layers, approximately 10 to 15 centimeters thick, clearly visible in surviving cross-sections. This method helped stabilize the wall in shifting desert terrain. Following the Han, the Three Kingdoms, Jin dynasty, and the northern and southern dynasties era saw political fragmentation and shifting priorities. Some regional states maintained or restored certain wall sections, while others abandoned them. In the north, non-Han regimes such as the Northern Wei took control of large parts of the frontier. The Northern Wei, who ruled from 386 to 534 CE, built several defensive walls of their own. Archaeological research in Shaanxi province has revealed northern Wei walls constructed with stone foundations and earthen cores, accompanied by fortresses that show a blend of steppe and Chinese architectural influences. These structures illustrate how northern tribes once seen as outsiders, adopted Chinese-style defensive strategies as they settled and governed. The Sui dynasty, though short-lived from 581 to 618 CE, made significant efforts to restore and expand the wall. The Sui united China after centuries of division and sought to secure the northern frontier through rapid construction projects. Historical records describe large-scale mobilization of labor, echoing the massive undertakings of the Qin. However, the pace of Sui construction, combined with heavy taxation and military campaigns, contributed to widespread rebellion and ultimately to the dynasty's collapse. Despite the political turmoil, remnants of Sui walls can still be found, often distinguished by their uniform rammed earth layers and the presence of small garrison posts built at regular intervals. The Tang dynasty that followed is famous for its cultural brilliance and powerful armies, yet it invested relatively little in the Great Wall. From 618 to 907 CE, the Tang relied more on diplomatic alliances and mobile cavalry forces to manage northern threats. They expanded Chinese influence deep into Central Asia, reducing the need for a static defensive barrier. As a result, many earlier sections of the wall fell into disrepair. Archaeologists studying Tang military sites note that the dynasty emphasized fortified cities and military colonies, rather than long frontier walls. This shift shows a fundamental change in Chinese strategy, from static defense to power projection across the steppe. During the Song dynasty, from 960 to 1279 CE, the political landscape changed once again. The Song faced pressure from powerful northern states such as the Liao and the Jin, both founded by nomadic or semi-nomadic peoples. Unable to dominate the steppe, the Song focused on internal development, urban life, and economic prosperity. They built walls around cities but did little to expand or repair the Great Wall. Instead, they relied on diplomacy, trade, and military alliances. This era is notable for the contrast between advanced Song technology and the limited investment in frontier defenses. The Great Wall, in this period, became a symbol of an older military strategy, temporarily overshadowed by new geopolitical realities. The turning point came with the rise of the Ming dynasty. After the Mongols conquered China in the 13th century and ruled as the Yuan dynasty, the Ming emerged in 1368, determined to secure the northern frontier once and for all. The Ming Wall, built between the 14th and 17th centuries, represents the most ambitious and best preserved phase of construction. Unlike earlier dynasties, the Ming used bricks, stone blocks, lime mortar, and sophisticated engineering techniques. Their walls were thicker, taller, and better reinforced. Many sections included drainage systems, stone parapets, crenellations, and interior rooms for storing weapons and supplies. Watchtowers were built at regular intervals, and large fortresses guarded critical mountain passes. Modern archaeological studies have mapped thousands of kilometers of Ming Wall, revealing regional variations in materials and construction techniques. In the mountains north of Beijing, the wall is made of cut granite blocks laid with remarkable precision. In the plains of Hebei, brick walls are supported by earth cores. In the deserts of Ningxia and Gansu, the wall incorporates tamped earth, reed bundles, and gravel to withstand shifting sands. These differences reflect Ming adaptability to local environments and their commitment to creating a truly continuous defensive system. The Ming era also produced the most extensive network of beacon towers, garrison towns, and military roads associated with the wall. Many features visible today, such as the iconic ridgeline walls at Jinshanling, Musianyu, and Badaling, are Ming constructions. Their craftsmanship and scale demonstrate a level of state organization unmatched by earlier dynasties. By the time the Qing dynasty rose to power, in 1644, the role of the Great Wall had changed. The Manchus, who founded the Qing, entered China not by breaking the wall, but by passing through a gate opened by a Ming general who defected. Once in power, the Qing expanded the empire far into Mongolia and Central Asia, pushing the frontier north. As a result, the Great Wall lost much of its military purpose. The Qing maintained some sections for local defense and taxation, but large-scale construction ended. The wall transitioned from a functioning military system into a historical monument slowly reclaimed by nature. Today, archaeologists, historians, and conservationists study these layered structures to trace the evolution of China's defensive strategies. Different materials, construction methods, and architectural styles reveal the shifting priorities of each dynasty. The rammed earth walls of the Qin, the desert fortifications of the Han, the culturally blended works of the Northern Wei, and the massive brick fortifications of the Ming each represent a chapter in the long story of Chinese civilization. The Great Wall is not one wall but many, overlapping memories of 9 dynasties, each responding to the challenges of its time. Together, they form a timeline written across mountains and deserts, telling the story of a nation's resilience, adaptation, and enduring quest for security. The Great Wall stretches across one of the most diverse landscapes on Earth. Its route covers more than 21,000 kilometers, if all branches, spurs, and auxiliary defenses are counted. This means the wall had to adapt to deserts, mountains, grasslands, river valleys, forests, and even shifting dunes. Every terrain forced engineers to rethink materials and construction methods. Geography shaped the wall just as much as emperors and soldiers did. When the wall enters the Gobi Desert, the scenery becomes harsh and extremely dry. In the province of Gansu, ancient builders couldn't rely on stone or timber because these materials were scarce. Instead, surveys and excavations show that early sections were made using layers of gravel, salt-rich soil, and reeds cut from nearby oases. This method, called rammed earth, compressed sediments into solid blocks. Modern geotechnical studies confirm that these layers are still dense and durable after more than 2,000 years. The desert provided both difficulty and opportunity. One of the most striking examples of desert engineering is at Yumengguan and Yangguan, ancient western gates protecting the Silk Road. Here the wall blends into the landscape, forming long earthen ridges only a few meters high. These sections weren't meant to stop armies physically. Their purpose was surveillance and control of trade routes. Watchtowers placed in the desert were spaced widely, because visibility across flat terrain could reach dozens of kilometers. Archaeologists have even discovered preserved food, arrows, and written documents thanks to the desert's dryness. As the wall approaches the Hexi corridor, the geography narrows between mountains and desert flats. This natural bottleneck was ideal for defensive strategy. Chinese dynasties fortified this corridor heavily because it was the gateway between Central Asia and the heart of China. The landscape's long, linear shape made patrolling efficient. A small number of troops could monitor a large distance because the terrain funneled movement along predictable routes. The geography and the wall merged into a unified defensive system. Further east, the environment changes dramatically. Near the region of Jinshanling in Hebei province, the wall climbs steep mountain ridges. Here, the terrain is rocky, forested, and extremely uneven. Engineers could no longer rely on rammed earth alone. Instead, they used quarried stone blocks to anchor the foundation into solid bedrock. Ming-era sections in this area are famous for their tight curves, steep ascents, and sharp switchbacks. Some slopes exceed 60 degrees, yet the wall follows them with precision. Modern structural analysis shows that builders oriented staircases and battlements to align with natural contours. This minimized erosion and prevented the wall from sliding during heavy rains. In some places, the wall alternates between brick and stone depending on what material was locally available. The mountains demanded flexibility, and the builders responded with clever adjustments. Jinshanling is also notable for its density of watchtowers. The rugged ridges limit long-distance visibility, so towers were placed closer together. Some are less than 500 meters apart. Their staggered, elevated positions allowed defenders to maintain line-of-sight communication despite the uneven geography. This landscape forced the wall to become more fortified, more complex, and more visually impressive. North of Beijing, the hills become greener and more humid. Soil layers are thicker, forests denser, and rainfall heavier. This created a serious problem for erosion. Builders had to shift again to new methods. Ming engineers introduced drainage systems inside the wall's body, carving channels and adding stone gutters to redirect water. They also used bricks more extensively, because bricks resist moisture better than raw earth. Many of the most photographed sections today, such as Badaling and Mutianyu, owe their excellent preservation to these drainage innovations. Forested regions also provided abundant timber. This allowed for strong scaffolding during construction, enabling workers to raise materials to steep ridges. Yet forests also provided cover for potential attackers, reducing visibility. To counter this, more beacon towers were added, and garrisons patrolled the surrounding hills. Geography dictated not only how the wall was built, but how soldiers lived and moved. As the wall travels northeast toward the rugged region of Liaoning, the climate grows colder and windier. Winters can drop below -20 degrees Celsius. Engineers had to work with frozen ground, seasonal snowmelt and violent gusts. Bricks and stones were laid with lime-based mortar that could resist freeze-thaw cycles. Some layers were reinforced with tamped gravel to improve flexibility and prevent cracking. Modern chemical analysis of Ming mortar reveals it contains sticky rice starch, increasing durability. This blend helped the structure endure centuries of harsh weather. Approaching the coast near Shanhai Pass, the wall meets the Bohai Sea. This area is relatively flat, making it vulnerable to fast-moving cavalry. In response, the wall becomes thicker and straighter, with heavy fortifications surrounding the pass itself. Shanhai Pass is built like a stone fortress, controlling the narrow opening between the mountains and the sea. Geography turned this spot into one of the most strategically important gates in all of China. Moving in the opposite direction, far to the west, the wall reaches areas where the landscape becomes almost alien. Near the Lop Desert in Xinjiang, shifting dunes cover long stretches. Unlike the more solid Gobi, these dunes move dramatically with the wind. Sections of the ancient Han Dynasty wall are now partly buried, partly exposed. Ground-penetrating radar has mapped long-lost fortifications under the sand. Archaeologists believe that patrols here depended on oases and wells spaced along the route. Geography wasn't just difficult, it was deadly. Wind played a major role in construction strategies. In sandy areas, builders planted rows of vegetation to stabilize the soil. They placed walls on slight elevations to avoid burial. Some remnants show layers of reeds pressed between earth, acting as reinforcement similar to early composite materials. These adaptations reveal how environmental challenges influenced the wall's design at every step. Along grasslands near Inner Mongolia, the terrain is open, rolling, and ideal for mounted nomadic warriors. In these northern plains, tall walls were less effective. Instead, builders constructed long trenches, earthen ramparts, and wooden palisades. These defensive lines controlled movement and slowed cavalry, giving Chinese patrols more time to react. Because the landscape allowed rapid travel, military posts included larger stables and supply depots for horses. Geography shaped military behavior as much as it shaped construction. In river valleys such as the Yellow River Basin, the wall had to cross water. This led to fortified river passes and complex hydraulic structures. Some sections used stone pillars driven into the riverbed, while others linked natural cliffs with manufactured barriers. Rivers also created weak points in the defensive line, so adjacent areas were heavily fortified. Archaeological studies revealed dense clusters of garrisons near major waterways, showing the strategic importance of these zones. Even in urban areas, geography mattered. As the wall approached large settlements, it merged with city walls, creating connected defensive networks. This can be seen clearly in the city of Nayan, where remnants of earlier walls integrate with later urban fortifications. Geography wasn't only wilderness. It included human landscapes that influenced the wall's layout. Taken together, the geography of the Great Wall reveals a story of constant adaptation. No single construction method could solve every problem. Desert demanded rammed earth. Mountains demanded stone. Forests required drainage. Plains required trenches. Climate, geology, and topography shaped decisions at every turn. Modern research confirms that the wall is not one structure, but thousands of solutions to thousands of environmental challenges. Understanding this diversity helps us appreciate the wall not just as a monument, but as a living engineering system responding to the world around it. The landscape did not simply host the wall, it sculpted it. And in doing so, it created one of the most geographically varied architectural achievements in human history. Modern archaeology has transformed our understanding of the Great Wall. For centuries, historians relied on ancient documents and surface observations, assuming that the wall stretched in a mostly continuous line across northern China. But in the last 2 decades, advanced technologies have revealed a far more complex structure. Using LiDAR, satellite imaging, drones, and deep desert excavations, researchers have begun to uncover sections long buried, forgotten, or misidentified. The Great Wall we see on postcards is only a fraction of the system that once existed. One of the biggest breakthroughs came through high-resolution satellite surveys. Programs led by the Chinese Academy of Sciences used multispectral imaging to identify subtle ground patterns that can't be seen from the ground. These patterns include linear discolorations, faint ridges, and soil compression lines, signatures of ancient construction tens of kilometers long. Satellite data revealed that the wall stretches in multiple parallel branches, weaving, splitting, and reconnecting depending on terrain and dynastic priorities. Some of these branches had never been documented before. LiDAR technology pushed the discovery process even further. LiDAR works by sending laser pulses from aircraft or drones and measuring their return time, generating precise 3-dimensional models of the landscape. In forested areas or rugged mountains, dense vegetation normally hides small structures, but LiDAR penetrates the canopy, exposing shapes beneath. In 2019 and 2020, LiDAR scans in the Yan Mountains uncovered dozens of forgotten watchtowers, collapsed fortifications, and wall foundations covered by centuries of forest growth. Some towers had completely vanished from historical maps. These findings show that earlier dynasties built more extensively than previously believed. The Qin and Han dynasties, for example, were thought to have constructed mostly earthen walls in open plains. But LiDAR revealed that both dynasties also fortified mountain routes, creating high-altitude defenses that required major logistical effort. This changes the historical narrative, suggesting that early emperors invested more in mountain security than classical sources reported. Desert regions have become some of the richest sources of new discoveries. The Lop Desert, often called one of the least hospitable places on Earth, hides ruins preserved by its dry climate. Shifting dunes have buried entire fortifications. Archaeologists working with the Xinjiang Institute of Cultural Relics deployed ground, penetrating radar and drone photogrammetry to map what lies beneath the sands. They found long, straight segments of Han Dynasty walls built from reeds, gravel, and tampered earth, constructions that would crumble in wetter climates but survive perfectly in arid conditions. Some of these newly mapped segments extend for dozens of kilometers. Records from the Han period mention defensive lines meant to protect Silk Road caravans, but their exact routes were unknown. Now, satellite and drone images reveal checkpoints, beacon platforms, and garrison remnants surrounding ancient wells. These discoveries confirm that the wall wasn't only a military barrier, it was a logistical network controlling desert travel and water access. One of the most surprising finds comes from the Gobi Desert. Satellite imaging detected faint outlines of a structure arranged in zigzag shapes. Researchers initially believed it to be natural erosion. After excavation, they realized it was a unique style of defensive trench built alongside a small segment of the wall. Its purpose was likely to slow fast-moving cavalry. The trench system suggests far more creativity and variation in defensive strategies than previously assumed. Modern archaeology has also revealed hidden details inside well-known structures. At Jiayuguan, often called the Western Gate of the Great Wall, high-resolution scans discovered subsurface layers beneath the visible fortress. These layers include older foundations, possibly from earlier dynasties. They show that the famous Ming fortress was built on top of previous walls that had eroded. The site is now understood not as a single construction, but as a stratified defensive complex spanning many centuries. In northern Hebei, researchers used drone photography and infrared imaging to analyze temperature differences in the soil. These differences indicated buried stonework invisible to the naked eye. When excavated, archaeologists discovered a line of walls running parallel to the better-known Ming section. This suggests the Ming constructed backup defenses designed to intercept enemy forces if the main wall was breached. The parallel wall segments are shorter and less monumental, which may explain why they were forgotten for generations. LIDAR and satellite imaging have also added depth to our understanding of beacon towers. These towers formed the communication backbone of the Great Wall. By lighting smoke signals during the day or fire at night, soldiers could send warnings over long distances in minutes. Until recently, only about 2,000 towers were officially documented. New remote sensing work has identified hundreds more, some positioned on isolated ridges and plateaus. Mapping these towers has allowed historians to simulate how signals would have moved through the communication network. Early results show that the system was far faster and more coordinated than earlier models predicted. Another major area of progress involves environmental and climate studies. Scientists analyzing the sediments around ancient wall sections have identified periods of sandstorm activity, drought, and erosion. These environmental markers reveal when certain segments were likely abandoned. For example, parts of the Han-era wall in the western deserts became unusable when climate patterns shifted, reducing water availability and forcing garrisons to relocate. This helps explain large gaps in historical records and why some segments were left incomplete. Desert excavations have also uncovered artifacts preserved in remarkable condition. Soldiers stationed along remote sections lived in extreme isolation, and the objects they left behind tell deeply human stories. In one outpost, researchers discovered slips of bamboo with handwritten notes describing daily life, complaints about harsh weather, requests for food, even messages of loneliness. These small details, preserved by the dry environment, offer insights into the lives of people who built and defended the wall. Some of the most delicate discoveries include textiles, fragments of armor, and wooden tools buried beneath collapsed watchtowers. Infrared scanning helps detect these materials without disturbing the soil. Once identified, excavations proceed with care. Such fragile artifacts often change historians' assumptions about clothing, equipment, and military supply chains during early dynasties. In mountainous areas, thermal imaging from drones has detected cracks and voids inside the wall. These weaknesses aren't visible from the outside. Engineers and conservationists now use this information to prioritize repairs and reinforce vulnerable stretches. This approach blends archaeology with modern engineering, ensuring the wall's long-term preservation. A particularly impressive achievement came when researchers used artificial intelligence to stitch together satellite images from multiple countries and space agencies. By analyzing terrain patterns, the algorithm predicted where undocumented segments were likely to exist. Field teams later confirmed many of these predictions. This combination of AI and field archaeology has accelerated discovery at an unprecedented rate. Together, these modern techniques show that the Great Wall is far more than the iconic brick sections near Beijing. It is an enormous, varied, and evolving network of defenses that stretches across deserts, mountains, grasslands, and forgotten trade routes. Each new discovery adds a layer of complexity and depth, revealing the wall not as a static monument, but as a dynamic system shaped by geography, politics, and human adaptation. Modern archaeology continues to reshape our understanding of this ancient structure. Each scan, each excavation, and each new map brings forgotten history back into the light. The sands shift, forests grow, mountains erode. But technology allows us to see through time and rediscover what was once lost. And with every discovery, the story of the Great Wall becomes richer, broader, and more human. The Great Wall is more than a military structure or an engineering achievement. Over more than 2,000 years, it has become part of China's cultural identity. Life along the wall shaped traditions, created legends, and inspired art that continues to influence the world today. Every generation left behind stories, rituals, and memories, turning the wall into a living symbol woven deeply into the cultural landscape of the regions it crosses. One of the most famous legends associated with the wall is the story of Meng Jiangnu. According to the earliest written sources from the Qin and Han periods, her husband was taken away to work on the wall. After months without news, she set out on a long journey to bring him warm clothes for the winter. When she finally reached the construction site, she learned that he had died from exhaustion, overwhelmed by grief. She cried so intensely that a section of the wall collapsed, revealing his buried body. Historians agree that the legend is not factual, but its endurance for over 2 millennia reflects the emotional weight carried by the wall's human cost. The story has been depicted in operas, paintings, and poetry, symbolizing loyalty, loss, and resistance to tyranny. Another important cultural layer comes from the soldiers who lived along the wall. Archaeological finds from remote garrisons reveal details of daily routines. Excavations in Gansu and Inner Mongolia uncovered slips of bamboo, pottery, bone tools, and small sculptures. Some artifacts depict deities believed to protect soldiers from illness or danger. Many garrisons developed local rituals, blending imperial military routines with regional customs. Soldiers wrote poems on pottery shards, carved symbols into watchtower walls, and exchanged letters with families hundreds of kilometers away. These small traces preserve a sense of the human lives that once guarded the empire's frontiers. Life along the wall varied greatly depending on region. In agricultural areas, villages grew near garrisons, supplying grain and livestock to troops. Families often lived in multi-generational homes, passing down traditions shaped by the presence of the wall. In some regions, local festivals developed to honor soldiers who guarded trade routes. Oral histories collected in the 20th century record stories of families who built rituals around lighting lanterns on the night of the Lunar New Year, symbolizing the beacon fires that once signaled danger across the mountains. In contrast, life in desert outposts was extremely harsh. Archaeologists found evidence of preserved food supplies, including millet, dried meat, and fermented beverages stored in clay containers. In dry climates, these items survived for centuries, offering rare insight into ancient diets. Studies also uncovered medicinal herbs placed in storage pits, suggesting that soldiers practiced basic forms of traditional medicine. In some areas, researchers discovered that soldiers made simple games from bone and wood to pass the time during long, quiet months on duty. These small objects help reconstruct what daily life looked like in isolated fortresses far from the center of the empire. Along mountain routes, seasonal migrations shaped local culture. Shepherds and traders passed by the wall, interacting with soldiers and settling near safe passages. Markets emerged around strategic gates, such as Jiayuguan and Shanhaiguan. Historical documents describe lively gatherings where merchants traded hides, spices, metalwork, and livestock. These markets later evolved into major cultural crossroads, blending influences from Central Asia, Mongolia, and China's interior. Traditional folk songs from these regions still mention the wall, reflecting memories of trade, travel, and uncertainty. Poetry and literature played a major role in building the wall's cultural legacy. During the Tang and Song dynasties, poets traveling on military missions wrote verses describing the wall's vast emptiness and emotional impact. One famous poem by Wang Jihuan, written around the 8th century, describes the loneliness of standing on a high tower as the sun sets over the desert. Such works reinforce the image of the wall as a boundary not only of land, but of thought and imagination. Scholars note that these poems helped shape a national identity tied to perseverance, vigilance, and endurance. The Great Wall also influenced painting, especially landscape art. Traditional Chinese scrolls often depict dramatic scenes of mountains, with winding fortifications snaking across them. These images portray not only the physical wall, but also the philosophical concept of balancing human effort with nature's power. In some traditions, the wall represents mankind's struggle to impose order on a vast and unpredictable landscape. Artists during the Ming Dynasty created large panoramic works, showing the wall's towers and fortresses, revealing its role not just as a military system, but as a cultural monument integrated into natural beauty. Local folklore around the wall is rich with ghost stories. In many regions, people believe that spirits of workers who died during construction wandered along the ramparts. Some stories claim that watchtowers are haunted by soldiers who remained on duty even after death. While these tales have no historical evidence, they reflect the deep emotional connection communities had with the wall. Folklore scholars note that such stories often emerged in places where construction was especially difficult and dangerous. They helped people explain the wall's monumental scale and cope with the sacrifices made to build it. The influence of the Great Wall extends beyond China's borders. European explorers in the 17th century described it as a marvel of the world, inspiring maps, travel journals, and paintings. By the 19th century, the wall appeared in Western literature, becoming a symbol of mystery and ancient civilization. In the 20th century, filmmakers used it as a setting for documentaries and historical films, introducing its image to global audiences. Today, the wall continues to inspire art, photography, and even architectural design. Modern structures around the world borrow its aesthetic of repetition, modularity, and monumental scale. One of the most fascinating cultural dimensions is how different ethnic groups interacted along the wall. Many communities living near frontier regions had mixed identities shaped by centuries of trade and conflict. Nomadic cultures from the north influenced local clothing, food, and traditions. Excavations show pottery styles and decorative motifs blending Chinese and nomadic patterns. This cultural exchange challenges the common idea of the wall as a strict divider. Instead, it suggests that the frontier was a zone of interaction, where cultures blended in complex and dynamic ways. Archaeological studies show evidence of temples and shrines near some sections of the wall. These sites were used by both soldiers and civilians. Rituals performed there often asked for protection during dangerous patrols or harsh winters. Wooden tablets found at some shrines contain inscriptions thanking deities for safe passage or successful missions. These practices reflect the spiritual life that developed around the wall. Religion offered comfort to those living in isolated regions, far from the capital's influence. In some villages, traditions connected to the wall continue today. Local festivals celebrate historical battles, legendary heroes, and the efforts of ancestors who protected the region. Craftspeople make miniature models of watchtowers from clay or wood, passing down skills from one generation to the next. Traditional songs recount the hardships of ancient workers or express admiration for the wall's scale. These cultural expressions keep the history alive, turning the wall from a distant monument into a living part of community identity. The Great Wall also shaped storytelling for centuries. Tales of bravery, betrayal, and supernatural encounters traveled along trade routes, passed from soldiers to merchants, and eventually written into folk literature. Many stories depict the wall as a threshold between worlds where danger and opportunity coexist. Modern authors continue to explore these themes, showing that the wall remains a powerful narrative symbol even in contemporary culture. In modern times, tourism has brought new cultural dynamics. Visitors from around the world walk on restored sections, experiencing the landscape that inspired centuries of legends. Local communities have adapted, creating museums, cultural performances, and guided tours that share the region's history. This exchange between global travelers and local traditions adds new layers to the wall's cultural life. The Great Wall stands as an archive of collective memory. Every stone, tower, and path holds traces of human experience, from workers who built it, to soldiers who guarded it, to artists and storytellers who gave it meaning. The wall's influence on culture is vast, stretching across centuries and reaching far beyond its physical presence. It is a monument not only of stone, but of imagination, identity, and human resilience. Today, the Great Wall stands at a crossroads between preservation and decline. While some sections have been carefully restored and protected, others continue to deteriorate under the pressure of climate, tourism, and time. Modern science, international cooperation, and national policies all play a role in securing the wall's future. Yet the challenges are complex. The Great Wall stretches for more than 20,000 kilometers, and the diversity of its materials and terrain makes preservation an extraordinary technical task. One of the most significant developments in modern history came in 1987, when the Great Wall was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This recognition brought global attention to its cultural and historical value. It also required China to establish national protection laws, conservation strategies, and scientific monitoring programs. Since then, dozens of research institutes have collaborated to map the wall, assess its condition, and propose long-term solutions. UNESCO's involvement helped unify preservation standards, but the vast size of the wall means that many areas remain difficult to access or maintain. A major challenge comes from environmental degradation. In northern China, climate change has accelerated desertification. Strong winds, shifting sand dunes, and sudden temperature changes erode earthen walls at a rapid pace. Studies conducted by the Chinese Academy of Cultural Heritage show that some rammed earth sections lose several millimeters of material each year. Although this may seem small, the cumulative effect threatens to erase entire segments within decades. High-altitude areas are also vulnerable. Freezing and thawing cycles create cracks in stone and brick, slowly weakening the structure. These natural processes push preservation teams to find innovative ways to stabilize vulnerable sections before they collapse. Human activity also affects the wall's condition. In certain regions, agricultural expansion has damaged foundations as villagers build terraces or clear land for farming. In other areas, urban development has encroached on the wall, particularly near Beijing, where modern construction and infrastructure projects risk disturbing buried historical layers. Government regulations now prohibit building too close to the wall, but enforcement varies by region, and illegal construction still occurs. Satellite monitoring has become a valuable tool in detecting unauthorized activity, allowing authorities to intervene more quickly. Tourism presents both opportunities and challenges. Millions of visitors come to the Great Wall every year, especially to popular restored sections such as Badaling and Musianyu. These areas have developed comprehensive infrastructure, including cable cars, viewing platforms, and safety systems. Tourism revenue helps fund preservation, but the constant foot traffic accelerates wear on the structure. Pathways are reinforced to protect ancient stonework, but heavy use continues to place stress on the environment and local communities. Conservation teams work to balance accessibility with protection, ensuring that visitors can experience the wall without contributing to its decline. In contrast, remote and unrestored sections suffer from the opposite problem: neglect. Many of these areas have little funding, limited access, and insufficient manpower to monitor their condition. Without regular maintenance, plant roots infiltrate cracks, water erodes foundations, and storms damage towers already weakened by centuries of exposure. Local governments often lack the resources to manage these challenges alone. In recent years, national programs have begun to allocate more funding to these neglected sections, recognizing their historical significance and unique architectural features. Modern preservation efforts increasingly rely on scientific research. Engineers and archaeologists use drones to capture high-resolution images that reveal cracks, structural weaknesses, and erosion patterns. These aerial surveys allow experts to assess large areas quickly and prioritize urgent repairs. In some regions, laser scanning creates three-dimensional models of the wall, enabling researchers to simulate future deterioration and test restoration strategies. This predictive approach marks a shift from reactive conservation toward long-term planning. Materials science also plays a vital role. Traditional restoration methods focused on replacing damaged bricks or filling gaps with modern materials, but this often created chemical mismatches that accelerated decay. Today, researchers analyze the original composition of bricks, mortar, and rammed earth to create compatible repair materials. For example, studies have shown that Ming Dynasty bricks contain specific mineral ratios that contribute to their durability. By replicating these properties, restoration teams can ensure that new materials age similarly to the old ones, preserving structural integrity. Local communities are increasingly involved in preservation. In some villages, residents participate in monitoring efforts, reporting damage after storms or landslides. Educational programs teach young people about the wall's historical importance, encouraging a sense of stewardship. Cultural heritage groups organize cleanup events and restoration workshops. This community involvement strengthens long-term preservation because it fosters a shared responsibility for protecting the wall. In recent years, the Chinese government launched a national Great Wall Protection Plan, aiming to create a coordinated system of conservation, monitoring, and cultural education by the mid-2030s. The plan includes stricter legal protection, increased funding, and improved scientific research. One key objective is to establish a digital archive of the entire wall. This archive will combine satellite data, drone footage, and historical records to create a comprehensive record of the wall's current condition. Such a database will allow experts to track changes over time, identify early signs of deterioration, and implement targeted preservation strategies. Environmental restoration is another priority. In areas where desertification threatens the wall, ecological projects aim to stabilize sand dunes and restore vegetation. Trees and shrubs are planted strategically to reduce wind erosion. Soil reinforcement techniques help protect the foundations of earthen walls. These ecological efforts benefit not only the wall, but also the surrounding communities, improving agricultural conditions and reducing the impact of dust storms. Tourism itself is evolving. While mass tourism continues at the most famous locations, a growing number of visitors seek quieter, more authentic experiences. This shift encourages sustainable tourism models that distribute visitor traffic more evenly. Some regions promote guided hikes along unrestored sections, allowing travelers to appreciate the wall's natural beauty without causing excessive damage. These eco-friendly initiatives highlight the importance of preserving the wall as both a cultural heritage site and a natural landscape. The Great Wall's future also depends on global awareness. International collaborations with universities, museums, and research institutes contribute to the development of new preservation techniques. Experts from around the world share insights on conservation, material aging, and environmental monitoring. Documentaries, exhibitions, and cultural programs bring public attention to the challenges facing the wall. Increased understanding leads to greater support, ensuring that the wall remains a global symbol of history and resilience. Despite the challenges, the Great Wall continues to inspire millions. It is a monument to human determination, stretching across mountains, deserts, and centuries of time. Its survival depends on a delicate balance between preservation and modern development. By combining scientific innovation, cultural respect, and international cooperation, there is hope that the wall will endure for generations to come. As preservation efforts expand, the Great Wall continues to evolve from an ancient defensive structure into a shared global treasure. It stands not only as a relic of the past, but as a reminder of the commitment required to protect humanity's greatest achievements. Its future lies in the hands of those who study it, care for it, and walk along its stones, each person contributing to the next chapter of a story more than 2,000 years old. Thank you for joining this quiet journey along the Great Wall of China. I hope it brought you calm, clarity, and a moment of peaceful escape. If you enjoyed this documentary, a gentle like and a subscribe would mean a lot. It helps the channel grow, and it lets me continue creating relaxing stories for you. Until next time, sleep well, stay curious, and may your nights be peaceful.